Hi, and welcome to today's 4-Minute Mark. We're still in Mark chapter 9 and still talking about the healing of the boy with the unclean spirit. And that is a way to translate evil spirit. It can also be translated unclean spirit, okay, which gives the impression of dirty, not what it should be. A spirit that's marring one of God's children, a creation of the Lord. It's unclean, it's filthy, it's icky, okay? And of course, it's ceremonially unclean. Back then, they used that term for objects that basically were not supposed to be in the presence of God's people or in the presence of a holy God. So this spirit is unclean. He doesn't belong with God's people. He doesn't belong with the holy things of God. Okay, so Jesus has given the command we saw yesterday, verse 26. The spirit shrieked, convulsed him violently, and came out. The boy looked so much like a corpse that many said, "He's dead." But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him to his feet, and he stood up. He's dead. Well, he might have appeared dead, but Jesus knew that he wasn't. Or maybe Jesus actually raised the dead here. We've seen him do it before. He can do that. At any rate, the spirit comes out with a shriek. This boy looks like he's dead, but Jesus restores him. Jesus is the life giver. Jesus took him by the hand, lifted him to his feet, and he stood up. Let's go on to verse 28. After Jesus had gone indoors, his disciples asked him privately, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" He replied, "This kind can only come out by prayer." What is Jesus getting at here? Remember that he talked about earlier about his frustration that they were unbelieving when he heard the disciples couldn't cast out this demon. And now he says it can only come out by prayer. What he's saying is this can only come out if you get in touch with God and let God do the work through you. That God's power is flowing through you and that you believe it is. It can only come out as we touch base with God. Perhaps the disciples were like Moses when Moses struck the rock. If you remember in the book of Exodus, one time when God wanted Moses to speak to the rock to give the people water, and Moses was fed up with the people, and Moses essentially said, "You want water? I'll give you water." And he struck the rock. "I will do it." And God was angry at Moses. The disciples here may have been flushed with their own success and may have felt like, "Oh, sure, we can cast out this demon. Here we go. Demon, leave." And maybe they were leaving God out of the picture. And they were forgetting that the faith that they have to have is in God, not themselves. I think that's probably what was going on here. And we have to be careful in the church that when things go well in the church, we thank God for it, for those things. That we are relying on God's power, not just on our own abilities to think out situations and so on. That we are believing that God is working through us. I have a friend who once was on the staff of a megachurch, and the megachurch was outlining its plans for the year, and they were going to use an advertising campaign, and they had all these plans and so on. And my friend said, "And where's the Holy Spirit in all of that?" My friend said, "I get the impression that we're so caught up in why our plans will succeed because corporations have used them and other churches have used them, that we could take the Holy Spirit out of here and we probably still would succeed. But is God really behind it or not?" My friend didn't stay on staff very long. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.